Guys, you know that there's no need for us to use the quadratic formula ever again. There is a much simpler and a more intuitive method which takes advantage of the fact that parabolas are symmetrical. Say you had to find the roots of this function. So the first thing you would do is you would factor out the 2. And from this point on, you would actually be finding the solutions to the function that's inside the bracket, which is y is equal to x squared plus 7x over 2 plus 5 over 2. That's because the a value is just a vertical stretch, and as you can see, both graphs have the same x-intercepts. And so it's just easier to work with an equation where the a value is 1 instead of being another number. Next thing to recognize is that since the parabola is symmetrical, the distance from the vertex to either x-intercepts is identical, and we'll call this distance u. So your x1 and your x2 are just the x-coordinate of the vertex plus u and minus u. Now, the other thing we know about our roots x1 and x2 is that when you're factoring a quadratic equation, x1 times x2 is just a times c. And since our a value is 1, x1 and x2 in our scenario is just equal to c. And now we can put these two facts together and come up with a difference of squares, which is the x-coordinate of the vertex minus u times the x-coordinate of the vertex plus u is equal to c. Now, since the x-coordinate of the vertex is just negative b over 2a, this is the final form of our difference of squares. Now remember, our a value is 1, so our calculations will be even easier. So going back to this equation, our b is 7 over 2, and our negative b over 2a is negative 7 over 4. Now you just create your difference of square. You solve for u, it turns out to be 3 over 4. And so the last thing that remains is to add that distance you just calculated to the vertex to calculate your x1 and your x2, which turns out to be negative 1 and negative 5 over 2. And that's exactly the solution. And we did it without using the quadratic formula. So practice this method a few times and you'll get really good at it. And then you can go and show your friends and your math teachers that we actually don't need the quadratic formula. And this method actually makes more intuitive sense.